Assalamu alaikum, guys. Welcome to chapter 10.5. Today we are discussing paying for college. What is it that you can expect? What do you need to be paying attention to, especially since you're going into the high school pretty soon, guys? There's not much time left for you to think about how am I going to be paying for college? How can I help my parents? And so on and so forth. So, two types of monies, that are free, basically free money. The grant is basically federal money. What does federal mean? The government. In other words, the government does have grant money that, depending on the circumstances of the individual, you can apply for it and you can qualify, and there's a certain amount, depending on the finances of the family home, of how much they can grant you. It can be anywhere from 2,000, 5,000, 10,000, and that could be per year. You do have to apply for it on a yearly basis based on income taxes. And since you're a child, even when you're in high school and you graduate, your parents are the ones claiming you, so it would be based on their taxes. Now, scholarship money is free money also, and it's from private organizations. So there's some foundations out there that, have millions and millions and millions of dollars that they are willing to give, providing that you meet the criteria. Every single organization is different. It just depends. Two of my kids went a full ride. A full ride basically means that they went for free for school. They got paid to go to school. So they earned a scholarship through the Terry Foundation organization up at UTD. But, it's up for anybody. And now one of my kids is actually one of the persons that interviews for that scholarship. So you might want to think about that or ask me later on in high school how, what do you need to do and what to expect, because there's certain things. Theirs was more based on basically volunteer work. There was a financial need because obviously I'm not a rich person, but it was also based on their academics. It was based on their volunteer work and their leadership and so on and so forth. But anyways, for today's lesson, you have a table right here and it says 4-year university. Now on your worksheet, it could say 2-year, college. It could say 4-year university. But understand that whatever is given on the table is just for 1 year. A lot of the confusion for kids is, oh, this is what it costs for 4 years. Absolutely not. It costs a lot more than this to go to college, okay? So whatever tables you get on your assignments, it's for 1 year. And the word problem itself also tells you that this is the cost for 1 year, okay? So let's go. So for a 4-year university, tuition and fees, okay, for 2 semesters, is $8,100, and when we talk about 2 semesters, it's the fall and the spring. Room and board. Room and board basically is your housing and your food. So if you stay in the on university campus, they have dormitories that you can stay in or apartments. So let's say that each year you pay $6,900 for the 2 semesters. Then you have fees of books and supplies. You need to buy books, you need to rent books, you need a laptop, whatever. The estimated cost per year is about $1,500. And then personal expenses. This is, maybe for your clothing, for gas, for your entertainment. They're allowing you $2,500, or that's what they expect that you would be paying. So the question here is, what is the estimated cost for the first year? Now remember that all of these fees are for just 1 year. So if it's asking you what's the estimated cost for 1 year, all you have to do is add them up. And if you add those values up, the total cost for all of these is $19,000. So what would it cost to go for the first year? It's very easy, guys. Add it up. And in this case, it's $19,000. Okay? The next question, what's the estimated cost for all 4 years? Well, this is the estimated cost roughly, right? Because some things might change, but it's an estimate anyways. So all you have to do is take 19 times the number of years that you're going. And it's 19,000 times 4. So what's 19,000 times 4? It should give you a total of $76,000. So to go for all 4 years, it's roughly $76,000, okay? So now look at that, right? The difference between 1 year and then 4 years. It's quite a bit of money. So, applying for grants, they take some of the relief off of your parents of having to pay, or even you, if, some parents do require their kids to pay, which is okay because you end up growing up, right? And then scholarship, which is private money, all of this never has to get paid. Now, what ends up happening is a lot of kids, they end up borrowing money to go to school and then they get in debt. So you want to try to avoid, if anything, when you get, ready to go to college, start asking about how to apply for Pell Grants, and that's the federal grant or the money given by the government, and then start looking for scholarship opportunities. So this is how you figure out how much it costs to go for one. Obviously, if it's saying 2 years, then take the 19,000 times 2, and so on and so forth. Now, here we go for the next one. What are the type of payment methods that you can have? So I have 2 scenarios here. Scenario number 1, let's say that you have saved $4,000. You applied for a grant from the government. They gave you $2,000, and then you got a partial scholarship for $2,500, okay? So the question here on scenario 1, how much more money would you need to pay for the first year? So remember from the previous problem that the cost was $19,000, right? So what you need to do is go ahead and add up how much you have saved and earned, because when you do get a grant and a scholarship, it's basically earnings. And by the way, for a grant, you don't have to report it to the government as a money earned, but scholarship, you do. You might have to pay taxes, so therefore you have to go ahead and keep track of all your expenses. So when you add up all of these values, it's $8,500. So if the cost for 1 year is 19,000, and you have saved 4,000 plus the grant and the scholarship, the total is 8,500. Find the difference between the two, and then that's how much more money you need. So if I take away the 8,500 minus 8,500, how much more money would you need? You need a total of $10,500. So you're going to have to figure out a way, how do you come up with this? Either you work for it or you apply for a loan. It depends, hopefully your parents will pay that amount, and it'll make it much easier so you don't go into debt. The next question right here on scenario 2. So let's discuss scenario 2. What do all the numbers mean? So they will give you, it's not going to look as it's going to look as close as possible to this, but for me, I'm not going to draw all the little boxes, but basically it's called a periodic calculator. So basically a periodic calculator is a calculator that will keep track of the funds, and it calculates everything for you so you can easily see it and then grab and pull information out of it. Now the information is going to be in paragraph form. So let's say that you're going to college, and 5 years before you graduate, okay, your parents decide, I'm going to go ahead and start a savings account. Now the beginning balance is $6,000, so they'll deposit $6,000. And I know, guys, Islamically speaking, we're not to deal in interest and stuff, but I'm saying you because, you live in America, and you could be anybody. You don't necessarily have to be Muslim to be investing and getting this. So I have to just speak in general terms, what happens in this country, so you can be aware. So beginning balance deposited was $6,000. Now every month, at the end of the month, the parents are going to deposit $175, okay? So it is earning interest at 4.85%. The amount in years is going to be 5 years. Remember, they're investing this money 5 years before you go to college. They're going to start a savings account. Then it says here the future value. In other words, it's already calculating for you, kind of foreseeing it. You can, and by the way, they have these calculators online that you can play with it a little bit. If I deposit this much, or if, I add this every quarter or every week or every month, depending on the amount of money, it can tell you how much you can expect at the end of the term. And in this case, it's 5 years. So the future value is $19,464.37. Okay? And then the interest earned, the calculator's also going to tell you, you're going to earn $2,964.37. So the question here is, on scenario 2, will the value of the account be enough to pay for the first year? So what you need to do, guys, the most important number is the future value. So the future value tells you, are you going to have enough or not? So some of the questions will be, are you going to have enough? Look at the future value after you calculate the cost, right? Add up all the fees and everything, and in this case, we got 19,000. So the future value is $19,464.37. So what can you say, How can you answer? Will there be enough money for the first year? Yes. Because what's the reason behind this? The reasoning is the total cost of going to school, okay? The total cost was 19,000. And to finish explaining it, total cost is 19,000. The future value of the account is 19,464 and 37 cents, which is more than enough, okay? And it's that simple. So total cost was 19,000. The future value of account is, and that's supposed to be is, $19,464.37, comma, which is enough. Okay, so there you can, as long as it makes sense, guys. So you can say, well, the future value is 19,464 and 37 cents, which is greater than 19,000. So there's enough. So as long as the statement makes sense, basically this is a requirement of today's lesson. Pretty easy. Just understand most important value here is the future value. And what they want you also to understand as well is the grant and the scholarship money. Understand that grant and scholarship money does not have to be paid back. Grant money, you don't pay taxes on it, but scholarships you do, because that's coming from a private organization. The reason you don't pay on grants is because the government themselves are lending it to you. They're not going to tax you on money that is not lending, by the way. They're giving it to you. They're not going to tax you on money that they are giving to you. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to come to class. Assalamu alaikum.